Hi art friends. So today we are going to be working on these pineapples, and with this one I just used markers and water to spread them out, but I'm going to show you a couple different supplies that we can use. Whatever you have at home for coloring and for paper will work great. So to start, since I have this tablecloth here, I'm just going to start by setting down something safe for me to paint on, because I don't want to get paint on the table. I don't want to get even watercolor or marker or any waters or marker or anything on the table. So I have my paper, and we are just going to start with the pineapple drawing. Now I'm going to start with Sharpie, but you guys go ahead and start with pencil, and then you can trace with marker if you would like to. I'm actually going to start up near the top of the paper. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to draw a straight line, leaving some room for the leaves of the pineapple at the top. And then I'm going to add the bumps for the sides of the pineapple. We are going to cut these out, so it doesn't need to be perfectly centered on your paper. We will cut these out at the very end. Or if you just want to leave it on the paper at the end, you can too. So I did those straight line and 2 bumps. Now to start the leaves, I'm going to start right in the center here. And I'm going to draw a wiggly leaf shape, leaving room on both those sides because I'm going to add 2 leaves to each side, just with some wavy zigzags. 1, 2, and then I gotta do the same thing on the other side. Any point I'm moving too fast, you can slow down the video to catch up, or you can pause it. Now in the centers here, so we have these 2 kind of bigger open spaces, I'm gonna add 2 more zigzags. 1, 2. Same thing over on this side. 1, 2. Maybe just seeing a little bit of that corner leaf. And then right in the center, we add 1 more leaf, and we have the outline for our pineapple. Now you'll see in the one that I have finished, I did these spaces at the bottom so that I could have this really colorful pineapple. So I'm going to draw 3 diagonal lines. 1, 2, and 3. For that inside space, like I said, on this one, I had used just markers and I spread it out with water and a brush. I'll show you how to do that. Or you can use crayons. You could use colored pencils, whatever you want to use to add color. For the markers, you might have a different kind of marker at home, but I'm going to start with my warm colors. Starting with these warm colors. And I'm going to add an outline. So I can draw that line and then kind of fill in. If you're using thicker markers, awesome. I only have these skinny ones at home, but those thick ones will get a nice thick outline without having to fill in like this. So I'll do pink down here at the bottom. And your line could be more zigzag too, especially for big spaces like this. You're gonna want more marker because you're trying to spread that out with water. You need a little bit more to fill those big spots. Now, to spread that with water, all I need to do is get a cup of water and a paintbrush. And it's almost gonna be like watercolors. Again, the more marker you use, the darker that watercolor will be. You might have to brush it for a moment too. But you can see mine starting to change and fill in. Just a light watercolor space. Now, if you want it darker, you can wait till it dries and you can go back with more water and more marker. It will bleed just a little bit, that's okay. We can cover that up with color in a moment. I like that effect it creates when it bleeds like that. Since I'm using wet paper and I want to show different supplies, I'm going to be really careful going near these wet spots that I'm not pushing too hard because I don't want the paper to tear. That would mean I'd have to restart the whole thing. So maybe with crayons, I'm going to pick another warm color, and I might actually do this kind of dark red. And I do want to add patterns at the end, so I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just filling in lightly. Last space, I'll use yellow, and I'll use crayon again. Filling in all the way. And then the last step I can do right now, use a darker color, like my orange. To help cover up where it had bled from the paints a little bit. And I could just create a darker outline with another warm color. So you can use a mix of supplies too if you would like to, or you could just use one supply, whatever you have at home. Now I want to use my cool colors for this top space. And if you remember, those cool colors are the ones that make you think of cold things, like rain or snow. Those are going to be blue, purple, greens. You can use crayons again. Or we could use colored pencils too. So if you have colored pencils at home, that's a great option. I, again, am going to just fill in really light. So I'm going to pick a couple to fill in green. Maybe skipping a space before I do my next spot, green. Maybe I'll switch it up, and I kind of like this light purple in the crayon. So I can do that light purple. I still need some blue, still need that cool color blue. Just coloring light so I can add patterns on top later. Now for the patterns, you can use the same color, like on mine, where I did orange on orange or red on red, or like with my yellow, you could pick a different color that would pop out with it, like the yellow and orange. Especially if you have a space like this darker blue, you might want to pick a darker color to add patterns on top, like zigzags, or I could use this red to add bumpy lines to a space. Moving slow where that water was still a little wet. I could add maybe crayons over my yellow. I could use some more of that red. I'm gonna let these two go for right now because they're still a little wet and I don't want the paper to rip. So I'm gonna move up to my cool colors. And even though this is the same colored pencil I'd used, I can press harder to show a pattern, like that leaf. Or maybe I do some stripes going over each other. You could do more shapes, kind of like these circles, where I could do some triangles scattered in my space. I could do castle lines. Castle lines are a favorite. You guys can keep watching or you can start making your own, but you can keep watching mine for some ideas for patterns. Like I could add little dots if you want to make little tally marks. So making a lot, but this time I'm going to make little stripes. My lines don't overlap or start colliding or get scribbly. I want to show those patterns and make them look nice. Rectangles. Filling in that space. I could add these stripes that go to the center. Maybe even outlining some of those spaces to make them pop out some more with that. You can mix colors and spaces or just combine them in the same spot, like that green and blue. I'm gonna hold off on this space like here, like I said, but I would come back to that later when it's dry until it looks like this. All finished pineapple. All my spaces have color, all my spaces have pattern, and I've filled them all in. Again, whatever supplies you have at home that you can use to make your colorful, warm and cool pineapple, make sure to share a photo when you're done and have a great rest of your day. Bye.